They say family should make you feel safe, loved, and equal at the table. But that night, sitting in a fancy restaurant with my family, watching my son eat plain bread while everyone else devoured $100 steaks, I realized just how little my family saw us as their own. And I promised myself I wouldn't let them walk away feeling proud of it. The restaurant smelled of grilled steak and butter. My sister sat across from me in her designer dress, her husband talking loudly about his new car. Her 2 kids laughed, cutting into thick ribeyes, dripping with garlic butter. Then, when the waiter turned to me and asked, "And for your son, ma'am?" my sister smiled. A sharp, fake smile. "Oh," she said sweetly, "we didn't order for her son. Just bring him some bread." Her kids snickered. My dad, sitting at the head of the table, looked at me and said, "You should have packed him something." Everyone laughed, except me and my little boy sitting quietly beside me, clutching his napkin like he was afraid to make a sound. I looked at my son. His eyes were fixed on the bread basket the waiter placed in front of him. No steak, no fries, no dessert, just bread. I could tell he was embarrassed. He was 12, old enough to know what humiliation looks like, and old enough to see that his mother didn't fight back. But what my sister and father didn't know was that I had learned to choose silence, not because I was weak, but because silence gives you time to aim. When the waiter came back to refill their wine glasses, I leaned toward him, my voice barely above a whisper. "Can you do me a favor?" I said. He nodded. "Put their entire bill on my card," I said. "And when you bring the check, please read my name out loud." He blinked just once and said, "Of course, ma'am." I sat back, smiled faintly, and waited. While my family laughed about vacations and money, I just watched my son nibble on that dry piece of bread. They thought I was invisible, but I was just quiet, waiting for the perfect moment to remind them who I'd become. The waiter came back 15 minutes later, holding the black leather checkbook. He smiled politely and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, the bill has already been taken care of." Everyone paused. The waiter continued, "It's been paid by," he glanced down, "Mrs. Amir Rahim." The name hit the table like a stone dropping into still water. My sister's smile froze. My dad's eyes narrowed. My son looked up at me, confused. The waiter set the receipt down gently. "Paid in full," he said. "Tip included." My sister's voice came out sharp. You paid for everyone?" "Yes," I said calmly. "Everyone." She frowned. "Why would you do that?" "Because," I said, "I wanted to make sure the same people who told my son to eat bread knew that his mother could afford to feed every single one of you." The color drained from her face. My father coughed awkwardly, pretending to check his watch. "You didn't have to show off," my sister snapped. I leaned in slightly, smiling. "I wasn't showing off," I said. "I was setting the record straight." I turned to the waiter again. "Can you please bring my son a steak?" I said. "Medium rare, with mashed potatoes, and whatever dessert he wants." "Yes, ma'am," the waiter said quickly. My sister's jaw dropped. "You don't need to." "Oh, I think I do," I interrupted. "You told him bread was enough. Now he's going to eat like the king he is." When the food came, my son's eyes widened. The steak was sizzling, perfect. The waiter placed it in front of him with a respectful smile. And when my son cut into it, everyone went silent. That silence was the sweetest sound I'd ever heard. I stood up, looked around the table, and said, "My son will never sit at another table where people think he deserves less. Not again." Then I turned to my sister. "You've spent years pretending you're better than everyone, but money doesn't buy kindness, and you just proved that." To my father, I added softly, "Next time you think I should have packed his food, remember that I was the one who paid for yours." As we left the restaurant, my son held my hand. "Mom," he whispered, "you didn't have to do that." I smiled. "I know," I said. "But sometimes the best way to teach people respect is to let the bill speak for itself." And that night it did.